And welcome everybody to the Broken Wing Racing League. This is the GT3 Sprint Championship for Season 10, Round 3 here at Imola. You know what? I'll say it. It's we're at the track, Autodromo Enzo e Dino Ferrari, Imola, otherwise known for this fun track that we're at. 21 corners. Track temp is at 21 degrees Celsius. So that's going to be fun for some of these drivers. Rarely navigating the limits of the track right now. We have 9 minutes left to go on free practice. How's it going, Jeff? Jeff Lubish? I mean, I will say that you put it as Lou something, and I'm not sure. I feel like that's a trap. You want me to say it that way. I think Lubish was how you initially told me to say it, and now I see something else is pronounced here. I don't know if I can trust that. Just happy to be here. That's great to know. Normally ripped off the rails for every race. That's Jeff Lubish for you. Just a spectator today, not on the race. We're just looking at some drivers in practice right now. We'll actually go over. You can. I wasn't clear the first time. Okay. Trey Mistak, who's sitting in P2 with a 141.495. He's 0.288 away from pole. That's Peter Flanner holding the fastest lap. Juan Carlos in the garage. One thing to note is that there's not a lot of drivers that do 141s, and I'll say that if you are looking at the gaps here to P1, it looks close, but Elliot Burton is P7, and he did a 141.976. The fastest one was a 141.207. I'll try to get it right next time there, Jeff. So only 7 drivers are in the 141s in practice. It'll be interesting to see what happens in qualifying. I don't even believe most of these drivers are out just doing hot laps. I think they're just trying to see what the pace is like with full fuel, or at least starting half fuel. Christopher Daniel, who sits P5 in the Pro Championship right now, part of the Pax Oceani Purple team. His teammate John Javecki is even further down in 11th, but his sister teammate JD Daniel is sitting P2 in the championship. Elliot Burton, who I was talking about, is sitting P7 in this race right now for practice, but he's leading the Pro Championship out in front with some, I think, a good margin to JD Daniel. Maybe not so good. Dang, it's only less than 20 points. And going over to some other drivers here, let's see. Oh, the guy just got this one for Mark Foley. Mac Foley. He's the 2-time Gloucester Indoor Karting Club under 11 vice champion, and he's not in England. The Britain can be found in Mexico. Where in Mexico? I'm not sure. So he's roughly on our time zone. That's probably like Central time zone on that one. We have Andrew Korostecki here, who is mentioned on Wikipedia. And as an altered state enthusiast, I'm going to say that that could be anything, right? Altered state. Just behind him is Noah Hodgkinson, one of the league owners. Difference in pace right now is Noah Hodgkinson on his last lap was a little bit faster. Where do we see him stack up here? Andrew Korostecki is 18 in practice. Noah Hodgkinson is 22. Now, the fastest lap Andrew Korostecki has done is a 142.4. Noah Hodgkinson did a 142. I'm going to round up to 9 because it really is 895. That's basically a 9/10. And just going to drop some of these real quick to show you scoreboard so we can take a look at the results in qualifying or in practice right now. We can see that it was P1 through P7 that are in the 141s, P8 down to P23, Mark Foley, just behind Noah Hodgkinson, are in the 142s. Then it leads off with Dylan Maroney in P24 with a 143.040. And then all the way down from 123 to P37, Michael O'Shins with a 143.915. And then it's the 144s. Garen Hahn all the way down. You do have some outliers, like Eric Nesbitt has done a 2-minute, but you know he's predicted to do a 145 right now at this moment in time. So only a few drivers that are gonna be outside the 145 range, 4 of them possibly. So overall, that's going to still be a really strong track for a strong race on the track because everyone's in the margins of a couple seconds in terms of going fastest right now. And just one thing more to note is that on that relative, it is their last lap that they have set. That pit out, pit in, how much time they spend in the pits. The overall horizontal tracker is an interval tracker, so it's just looking at the difference in pace between two drivers. Right now, it's not going to matter so much in practice because it's just looking at their last lap intervals, but it'll go live during the race. So there's that to look forward to as we have 2 minutes and 30 seconds left to go. Peter Flanner still in the pits. Don't think he needs to set a time. Trey Misek is going into the pits as well. I think, ooh, what the heck? Alright, well, now I'm confused. Go over to Trey Mistek. Pull back just a second. We got 1 minute and 40 seconds left to go here. What was this all about? There's Noah Hodgkinson ahead. And I think that's Andrew Gorstecki. Ooh, and he just... Hey, yikes. What is that all about? What was the kerfuffle here? Alright, you got Andrew Gorstecki and Noah Hodgkinson. If we go onto a cockpit view here. Ooh, just plugged it into the wall there. Interesting. Interesting. I don't think you're supposed to take the entry, the pit lane like that. Maybe he's just having a little goof. Peter is too quick this week. He's my favorite to win. Peter does also have consistency. Wherever he starts the race, he typically finishes within that plus or minus 1, I would say. Given some incidents that occur on the in the forefront, he'll gain some movement there. He's gained some positions through the undercut. He could be a favorite as long as he's able to keep it ahead through turn 2, I would say. You know, Tamparello. It's tricky. 2, 3, 4. As long as he can hold that together, I feel like, yeah, he's got some strengths here. I think everyone's completely... Alright, let's just get on board here and find someone who's, that's race. Practice is over. We're going to get to qualifying. Nicholas Mazza goes out. And I'll switch over in a few seconds here. All right, and qualifying is going to start. This is round 3 for the GT3 Sprint Championship here at Imola. And it's going to be interesting. We have 7 drivers confirmed in practice that can do a 141. We have over 20-ish drivers that can do 142s. Past that, we have another 10 to 15 that are in the 143s, and then just a few that are in the 144s. We'll switch over from Nicholas Mazza here to a driver who's up there further in the lineup. And I'm going to believe that's Peter Flanner. But no, Peter Flanner is a couple back. Just ahead of him is his teammate of Elliot Burton of Draft Punk Racing. And even further up, we have Tyler Anderson and Dylan Maroney. Oh, that was weird. Oh, Tyler Anderson takes the lead on their outlaps here. So we're going to stick on Tyler Anderson as he's going to take us onto his first flying lap. Some might call it a banker lap or a push lap. It all depends on what the driver's trying to do. What is this driver's thing? Tyler Anderson of Incident Crapshoot Joint Racing Venture with Cooper McCoy. And now we go through the start straight finish. Turn 1 isn't really a turn. It's a turn-ish. This is it right here as we approach Tamburello, which is 2, 3, 4. And I'm really not good with some of these Italian corner names, so don't expect too much out of me on these ones. I could say Aqua Minerale 1,000 times, but that's about it. I guess Ravazza as well, maybe. But ooh, it's all bent out of shape there. I'm not sure this is going to be a flying lap for him anymore, but as he's going through Aqua Minerale now, is he still really it would be interesting to know if that was an off track. It kind of looked somewhat like he strayed off the path there, but we'll see. You can see Elliot Burton is now ahead of Dylan Maroney as well on their outlet or on their push lap, which is interesting. Maybe he let him by. If this does count, then we'll definitely know. Sport that 1 for just a second, but I think Elliot Burton might just go ahead of him, getting a little bit of a tow on exit. I think he's too far back, actually. And we'll switch over to Elliot Burton, who fits the fastest lap. He takes P1. And as I was thought, his lap did not count. It was invalidated. Peter Flanner now leading with the P1, the 141.8. Already in the 141s. Every other driver's in the 142s. As JD Daniel goes into P2. Elliot Burton into 3. Andrew Korsecki in 4th. Chris Lambeth in 5th. Nicholas Mazza in 6th. Justin Scott in 7. Eric Rodriguez in 8. Blake Nave. Sorry. The change-up is happening right now. Mark Foley crosses the line to take a spot. Where's Tyler Justice going to go? He was fast. Oh, he's not even... Is he here? I don't... No, wait, that's not going to work. All right. We're going to have to go to someone else. Jacob Simmons, who is not set a time on the board. He is on a push lap. We'll see where he goes. 18 drivers have set a time on the board at this moment in time, out of 43, 44, I believe. So I think the ebb and flow of this of the league has finally occurred. We're now seeing Giancarlo Manetti Schliemann goes fastest overall, overtaking Peter Flanner by .088. That is something special. Jacob Simmons, who is predicted to do a really fast lap, a 141. He was in the 141s in practice. This will be his first lap across, and the fastest lap does not occur. As I spoke too soon, Jacob Simmons did a 141.724, going fastest overall. Oh my god. Oh, that's something close there. Trey Mistack, another fast driver. Is he going to set a time on the board? He has. Where's Dylan Maroney? Okay, you saw it where Dylan's at? Okay. I don't even know where he's at. I could look at his board and I'd still not see certain people. It just doesn't like light up. Where's Maroney? P18 for Dylan Maroney. Zeki Kabani goes to P13 with a 142.6. And just being in the 142s, low 142s, can set you into the top 10. It is possible. Just get a low 142. Trey Mistack looks like he's on a push lap. Is he actually going to go for it? As I see it, he's predicted to do a 152. No, he's just getting some race time in. So he's probably not going to set a time on the board. As we still have a few drivers still out there trying to take a lap together, a piece of lap together, and that's Noah Hodgkinson, who has not set a time on the board just yet. Giancarlo Manetti Schliemann goes fastest overall again with a 141.722. Note that on the board in the gap, Jacob Simmons is .002 difference. That's not a hundredth, or that's not a tenth, that's not a hundredth, that's a thousandth of a second difference. That is insane. That is so close. With Peter Flanner and Christopher Daniel not far behind, just 1/10 difference there, give or take, 1.5-ish on the hundredths of that scale. Then we're really getting into some crazy lap times. Still, 35 drivers have set times on the board. The horizontal is probably going to be a little bit faster at showing you the different drivers up there. And because it's not a scrolling effect, I can't actually slow down that at all. Unfortunately, it's just kind of how it comes in. And Noah Hodgkinson across the line. Is this going to be his time on the board for him? It is. P22 with the 143.100. Going over to Jesse Canales. Canales? Oh. It's that anime livery. They've been here before. For Jesse, it looks like he's on a push lap here in that Lamborghini Erdogan. Just ahead of him is Chris Chitterling, who has set a time on the board. Chitterling is at P13, looking to improve. We still got 57 seconds on the board. No further change in the top 10 so far. It looks like everyone's kind of setting their pace, but Jacob Simmons is still out there. Peter Flanner is still out there. Tyler Anderson's still out there. J.D. Daniel, Aaron Siciliano is out there. Jordan Groves. I think that's right. I'm going to consult my thing here. Jesse Canales goes to P30 with that lap. Jacob Simmons still out there. We'll see what he can do. Peter Flanner looking to upset the order here. He is P3. Can he put together another lap? This is his last attempt. And that was Siciliano. Aaron Siciliano. I said that, right? Oh, it's the other guy. Groves. Jordan Groves. He's staying up way too late for this race because he's in the UK. That's crazy. This guy's in the UK. Jordan Groves, who's in P8. I believe he said that before, though. He's part of the Pax Oceani group. And Peter Flanner, hopefully looking to impress here. He's got to find 1/10. Elliot Burton crosses the line to take another position, and he sits in P6. I'll probably be final for him. And that counter that's going is just for the remaining drivers that are on track. We have finished with qualifying. As you come across the line, it is over for the drivers to improve. And is this an improvement for Peter Flanner as he crosses the line? We'll see. If it says fastest lap Peter Flanner, then we know he's in P1. Right at the end of this corner. And it doesn't. Unfortunately, that's going to be it for him. Chris Lambeth crossing the line. Where can he stack up? He's in P11 at the moment. The other teammate for Bush's Baked Beans team. And he goes to P10. Gets one position out of that. And that is qualifying. Take a look here at the grid. We have Giancarlo Minetti Schliemann in P1, Jacob Simmons 2, Peter Flanner 3, Christopher Daniel 4, Tyler Anderson 5, Elliot Burton in 6, JD Daniel in 7, Aaron Siciliano in 8, Jordan Groves in 9, Chris Lambeth in 10, Rodrigo Theory in 11, Alan Paris in 12, Andrew Korsecki in 13, Chris Schitterling in 14, Zeki Kabani in 15, Mark Foley in 16, Justin Scott in 17, Nicholas Mazza in 18, Alex Authen in 19, John Javecki in 20, Craig Brick in 21, Eddie A. Smith in 22, Brian Berthium in 23, Dylan Maroney in 24, and still, we're waiting for, okay, Jesse Canales in 25, Noah Hoskins in 26, Blake Nave in 27, Idis Guibis in 28, so let me get that one right. Eric Rodriguez in 29, Dean Diltz in 30, Tyler Kern in 31, Blake Patterson in 32, Eric Koonsman in 33, Ethan Orr in 34, Michael O'Shins in 35, Steve McAllister in 36, Garen Hahn in 37, Matthew Baldwin in 38, Henry Ferguson 39, Trey Mistak in 40, Logan Brakey in 41, Charles Reed in 42, Eric Nesbitt in 43, Tyler Justice 44, Jameen Sen in 45, and Eric Stamp in 46. That concludes the grid. That car 69 is really hot. Oh, that is... I think I know who that is. Without even having to think about it, it's Justin Scott, right? Yeah, I know it was Justin Scott. It's like a helicopter look at it. And we're going to get going shortly. We're still gridding, waiting for at least 2 drivers that I can see that aren't popping up on the grid just yet. They got a little bit of time before that happens. And Giancarlo Minetti Schliemann leads us out. We're going to have 27 laps here at Imola. Jacob Simmons in 2, Peter Flanner in 3. Chef Lubish said it first. He thinks Peter Flanner is going to win this. He's got 2 drivers ahead of him he's going to have to contend with. That is still a lot of cars on the grid, to be completely honest. See some of them eating up that curb. It'd be very difficult to really, like, reel them all in. On the straight, it's going to be backed up. So all of them are going to get compacted once more before the final corner. I suspect it will kind of get a little bit more further apart in that final corner. And you can see there's a purple or a teal car that's really like backed up and not even getting close to the car ahead. But now I think they slotted in just fine. And it's up to Giancarlo here to put us to green, and he's going to take off. Peter Flander looks like he's going to have the inside line on Jacob Simmons for 2. They're definitely going to go... Ooh. No, they don't. They don't go too wide through Tamburello. But some drivers behind are... And that is Tyler Anderson having to defend against Elliott Burton, JD Daniel, as they're going to slot through. And it looks pretty clean out in the top 10 there. That's Aaron Siciliano on... Oh. Who is... It is Andrew Korostecki, Alan Paris, Rodrigo Theory, all battling it out there. Andrew Korostecki got 2 positions off the line there. Jordan Groves as well got another position. Rodrigo Theory is that teal Porsche, and he lost some positions. There's Chris Lambeth. No change in the order for him just yet. But still some tight racing. As we'll go through, Jordan Groves is up 1 position in the top 10. One of the only driver in the top 10, mind you, to make a position gain or lost, but is gain for him. And I don't foresee anything happening here just yet. As we'll go down to Dean Diltz, who is up 1 position. He's in that Porsche. And he gets by on Eric Rodriguez. Maybe that Eric didn't like that move. He's flashing him. Who knows? Can't say for certain. But they are going to go side by side down the start straight finish. Now this is Ford versus Porsche. And into Tamburello goes. It looks like Dean Diltz is really strong on the brakes there. He gets ahead and stays ahead. Actually gains himself a little bit of a gap. And then over to Blake Nave, who's in this black and yellow Ford. And it looked like he was going to have a move put down here, but no change. Going over to Chris Lambert, who's in Aqua Minerale. Nothing too sweet is happening so far on lap 2 of this race. I think it really just matters if you held position at the start of the race. You're going to really just be able to keep it there. A lot of difficult passing here at Imola. It's always the case with this track. And further back was Chris Chitterling. Ooh! Just got into the rear of that driver. And before I even got a commentator curse him, he was doing fairly well. It's got Dean Diltz in ahead of him now. It's 14 positions lost. Everyone's now going to be in the gain column on that. That is what happens when you make a spin like that. Thank you for stating the obvious there, Jason. Nicholas Mazza. It's 2 3 tenths off of Mark Foley. He might have an opportunity here shortly. He's got Alex Othman behind him, also a quick driver. Looking at their times, Alex Othman, who's the driver behind in that Porsche, and you know, honestly, there's a lot of Porsches on this grid. It's a Porsche, 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 Lamborghini, Porsche, Chevrolet. Guess the Porsche domination is the way to go. They built their cars for battle, as it's an old F1 driver might say. And the reason why we're still on this one is going to be a little bit fascinating here. Oh, we'll transfer over to Tyler Anderson, who is going quick. He's got Christopher Daniel ahead from P1 to P7. No position changes in the order so far. I think Jordan Groves, who we didn't even get to see the lap, the pass, that's probably into the first couple, or in the first lap for sure is when that happened. Through the melee, as one might call racing side by side. He gets ahead, but look at this. The gap to Elliott Burton is 1.3 seconds. So we can see clearly from P1 to P5, they're still consistently holding it together. And Elliott Burton, just shy by 1.3, has another little gaggle of cars that are behind. He's not so far off that group. He could reel them back in at some point, and it looks like he's going to. He's just actually sitting between two separate groups. JD Daniels actually a little bit closer than he is to the driver ahead of him, but it's still that 8th, 10th gap going through Ackerman and Raleigh. You see it. He's just in no man's land right now. He's really got to push to the back end there. It was a 1.3 second gap, and now it's a full second, so he's cut 3 tenths off of this driver. So we might be able to see something happen at him getting closer. I think, Jeff, you're right. It is the Porsche Cup, with sprinkling in some pizzazz from America's finest, the Ford. And some Lamborghinis. That is also on the table. You people like those. But you don't see a BMW. Actually, if we go further back, we do have a BMW. And that is Craig Brick, who, if I can call to his attention, is sitting P2 in the amateur class championship right now. Logan Brakey is in P1. So it'd be interesting to see where Logan's at right now. Logan Brakey is in P39 at the moment. So this will go to this driver. And we're going to go further back, talk about things gained and lost. There goes Trey Mistak, the driver we probably should have been watching, who's just made up 11 positions from the start of this race. Now, you can't make them all in one lap, so he must have been consistently getting ahead. And he's got to worry, though, because he's got a full little DRS train of drivers here as Chris Schitterling makes a move on Dean Diltz. We barely get to see that one, but look at that. And just ahead is another battle. We got to look at that battle. It's Idis Guabois Gubis. I'm not going to get this one right. He's got Blake Nave in the black and yellow Ford. Jesse Canales in the anime waifu livery. Noah Hodgkinson up 3 positions at the start of this race. But look at that. Just ahead of him is Eddie A. Smith. And there goes... Ooh. So we had Eric Rodriguez. I don't know what happened with Trey Mistak, but he lost the position to Eric Rodriguez. So he's going to have to reel him back in. And that battle kind of somewhat not really happening there, as the drivers were going side by side for a little bit of time, but it's kind of all over there. But it's interesting. Where is Trey Mistack here going to pass? Eric Rodriguez is still ahead of him, but I could have swore that Oh, that's Blake Nave off into the barrier. That's another position gained. Now, Trey Mistack is the Season 9 GT3 champion. He's sitting in P28, up 12 positions. One inherently gained through an incident right there with Blake Nave going into the barrier. Where can this driver make a move on track? We're not seeing a lot of passing, but when we do, it's in the braking zones. So far, that's all we've seen. You'd think one might go on on that start straight finish, but not really. No one's really passing there, from what I've seen. And yet, we look at Trey Mistack's best lap of this race. It was a 142.9. Eric Rodriguez ahead of him did a 143.8. Just the normal stuff. And hey, look at that. Down the straight we go. And Trey Mistack takes a position. Now he's got to battle Dean Diltz. Going over to Nicholas Mazza. Going for the outside line in the... See if he can't pull off an overtake. Alex Otten... Ooh. Looks a little spicy, but they did not make contact. And there's Mark Foley giving a good defense there before they get to Aqua Minerale. And he has to go off the track, lose... And that is going to be a little frustrating for Nicholas Mazza, who wants to get by, but is unable to. Alex Otten hasn't been able to capitalize on this battle. Mark Foley, given the lights from Nicholas Mazza. I wonder why that is. Sound off with speculation and drama. Just kidding. Don't do that. And here's Jordan Groves going ahead of JD Daniel. Pax Oceani purple and blue team. Does so on the straight, which leads me to believe maybe he's felt held up by his sister teammate. They are in a voice group together on Discord, so maybe they're just saying, hey, you probably have better pace than me right now. You can go by. I've interviewed him before, and that has been the case. And so maybe that is the case there with those drivers. Alex Otten. Something happened there. He's down a couple positions. John Javecki going on the inside line there on Brian Berthium. Makes up a position, but it looks like maybe Alex Otten had a mistake, had some error earlier on that last lap, because he is down kind of significantly off of Nicholas Mazza, who he was way closer on the previous lap when we were looking at that battle. John Javecki now joining his sister teammate on the Pax Oceani green team. But Alan Paris, also another driver of Pax Oceani green, looking to go side by side, but thinks better of it. No, he goes side by side with Andrew Korstecki. And that's through Hervaza. It's gonna be difficult Had to drop out. My wheel keeps crashing. The wheel? The wheel itself? Ah, that's rough. And Andrew Korstecki still holding that defensive line on Alan Paris as they go through Tamburello. And boom! There is an incident, and one person is gonna feel that the most. And there's his teammate of Alex Othen, who gets by. And that is going to feel no bueno. That was a side door bang in there on that, the entry into turn 3 on Tamburello. It's, maybe rough. You hate to see it, folks. You hate to see it. But Alex Othen, who gets ahead, that's now 5 positions gained. It is his teammate, so I don't think he's thinking we take those. Probably doesn't want to see a teammate on the side of the tarmac there. It's unfortunate. John Javecki, another sister teammate of Pax Ocean Purple, also probably like, oh man, that's no bueno. Definitely gonna have her Cerveza after this one. That's actually Mark Foley, everyone. He's probably thinking, we take those. He's in Mexico. The British man with a plan. Not only that, he's a 2-time Gloucester Indoor Karting Club Under 11's vice champion, which means he was runner-up. Andrew didn't leave the space, it appeared. Jeff Koffhold. How's it going, Jeff? Also, while you're here, am I saying your name wrong? John Javecki goes through on Alex Othen. Now that is interesting. Did he do it on pure pace? Did they let him by? Usually these drivers have some communication in the Pax Oceani group. So I'm always confused on whether or not it's a raw pace scenario and they're saying, hey, look at our last laps. I was faster than you. Can you let me by? If we look at the last lap of Alex Othen, he was a 144.2 and John Javecki did a 143.6. So maybe it is one of those scenarios where he's like, hey man, I'm doing some good laps. Can you just let me by? We'll see what happens. And yes, he let him by. And welcome, Jeff. That's 2 Jeffs. Jeff Lubish. Jeff Koffhold. Koff. Like I'm saying Koff. Hold. I'm not sure if that's even correct. But you've never once corrected me. So we have Aaron Siciliano and P9 with JD Daniel ahead. Both drivers in the top 10 that have lost positions. The only drivers in the top 10 that have lost positions, and the driver ahead of them, of Jordan Groves, is the only driver to gain a position in the top 10. Fascinating stat there, Chris Lambeth. You said it right, Jeff Koffel. Cool. I know I'm good at these things. And Tyler Anderson and Christopher Daniel are neck and neck, 2/10 difference, 3/10 difference. Ford versus Porsche. We've been seeing a lot of Ford versus Porsche. Seeing a lot of Porsches in general. We are in the driver lock-in for the car, so we're not going to see any difference here. We're just going to see half the grid of Porsches. I would say half this grid is Porsches. Just look at the relative, and it's Porsche, Lamborghini, Porsche, the Ford Mustang, Porsche, Mustang, Porsche, Lamborghini. Jeez, that is that's something else. And we're going to go on board. Look how close he is getting to Christopher Daniel. He could almost chef kiss that rear end. But don't get too close. Because we saw one driver just tap in Ravazza. And that was Christopher Chitterling, who just tapped that driver ahead of him. Right about here, and did a little spin around on the inside of the fielding there. It's a little bit of a shake up on the exit there, and that's going to put him back That's why you see him dropping 6/10. We'll probably reel him in a little bit here. The toe is pretty strong within a second, but no change in the order. It's kind of a fascinating stat so far. P1 through 6, no change since they got out there on lap 1. Jordan Groves is the one in 7th with that change. And we'll go over to Alex Othen. He's still pretty close. Ooh, look at this. Trey Mistack. If we were watching him this entire race, it probably looks fascinating. He is up 20 positions at the start of this race. A couple, if not just one or two, were through incidents, not of his own making. Drivers on that made their own errors or came together with another driver. So we saw at least once that he passed that way. But he's made up 20. Driver who started 40th on the grid. And to make that even more salient, the driver who's started 46 is in 41 at the moment. Which is an impressive stat. I think he's doing this. Ooh. We take those. That's Jesse Canales now into P20 as he's gone off in Ackerman Orale. I feel like I'm saying that like a dumb American. He's got 7/10 on Eddie A. Smith. Dylan Maroney's ahead of him. None of this is for the fight for him. All these drivers ahead of him right now are in the AM class. Eddie A. Smith, who's sitting P4, in that class, in the AM championship. But what about Dylan Maroney? Where's Dylan Maroney? He's actually P8 in the pro class. A driver in the maroon Ford Mustang is just ahead. And we'll pop over to Chris Lambeth. With no change still in the top 10 from what we've already established, Chris Lambeth has held 10, Rodrigo Theory in 11. But look at the difference in time. There's a 7.4 second gap on lap 13 of this 27 lap race from P10 to P11. I couldn't state it enough that during practice we saw that there was only 7 drivers that were capable of putting in a 141 lap here at Imola. The rest were in the 142s for about 20 drivers, and then after that it was another chunk of 15 to 18 doing 143s, and then also a couple outside of that, and that's Aaron Siciliano going into the pit lane. And that's going to be one inherited position for Chris Lambeth at this time. And that's Eric Stamp on the exit there. And still no change out of our top order here. And I'm not sure what happened here. We got Nicholas Mazza. Oh, okay. Now I got it. Nicholas Mazza has gone into the pit lane for his mandatory pit stop already. That's Steve McAllister, P28. He's down 10 positions, so he'll gain at least the 10. He's hoping to probably gain more. He can't be held up by drivers that might be on a slower pace than him, so he gets slotted by. He slots by on Steve McAllister. Already pulling about a 3/10 gap there. And he's the first driver, maybe not the first, but one of the only drivers out of the top from P25 onward, his number's going to keep changing, but now he's in P23. Now he's only down 5 positions. So now it's all going to start making sense. Aaron Siciliano, the driver ahead of him, also just pit, but he's actually out right now on track, and we can see where he is right now. I have no idea where he's at. Oh. Where's he at? Everything looks the same at some points of this track. Oh, okay, he's in Sector 3. That's a big difference there. So, not that much of a difference. I didn't even think Nicholas Mazza was where I thought he was. We got Zeki Kabani who goes and overtakes Steve McAllister there. And Zeki Kabani had gone in the pit lane, so this is now just a good, strong position to take there. Steve McAllister still hasn't gone in the pit lane. We have drivers further up in the group. And we'll take a look in a second. That's Trey Mistak, who's overtaken Dylan Maroney and Eddie A. Smith, who were behind him a couple laps ago. I'm telling you, if I just kept it on this driver right here, we'd be seeing overtake after overtake after overtake. The beatings don't stop until he's on the top. Look at him go. That's 25 positions gained. Gosh, this man is walking half the field right now and pushing in strong laps. As fast as still isn't the most impressive out of all of the drivers here. With a 142.5, I'm not even sure who holds the lap for that. Actually, it's Giancarlo. No, actually, Jacob Simmons has the fastest lap with a 142.096. And there's Mark Foley into the pit lane. See, it sounds like a Boston person saying it. That's not a British Mark Foley. That doesn't work either. That sounds weird. Was in the latter part of this grouping here. That's some more positions gained for Trey Mistak, who has 5.8 seconds on Alex Othen, which means clear air for him to really push, make some strides, go into the pit lane, get that fuel, get back out there. We'll see where he ends up. He's P11 right now. Tyler Kern has not gone into the pit lane yet. He's on 16-lap-old tires. We'll pop over to Giancarlo Manetti-Schliemann, who's putting on a clinic for keeping drivers away from you. He's got a 1.56 second gap to Jacob Simmons in P2. And is he going to go in? Yes, he is. He's going to pull the trigger and go in. So is Jacob Simmons. So is Peter Flanner. We're going to see everyone start making the move. Elliot Burton does not do it. He now inherits P1. Now we'll see the overcut. Does it work out for him? He's got clear air. 7.2 second gap to the driver in front of him. Right behind him, he's got not lap traffic, is it? Charles Whedon? Alright, that's Charles Whedon. Now I'm confused. Is Charles Whedon... Yes, he is. Charles Whedon, the same livery as Chris Chitterling, are part of the Little Lugnuts racing team. Little Lugnuts Racing. That's something for somebody. Go over to Chris Chitterling, who's now only down 9 positions. Remember, he did have that incident. Don't know what to call that. Steve McAllister goes in, so he's going to gain a position. That's 8. So he was down 14 from where his battle originated. So great recovery for him. Tyler Anderson has been on the heels of Christopher Daniel for most of this race, and even after the pit stops. he doesn't get ahead of Christopher Daniel. And we have 4 drivers that have not gone into the pit lane just yet. We got Eric Rodriguez, who's sitting in P22, but he's going to lose most of these off of the off his pit. Here's Elliot Burton. We'll see what happens. Now, it's good to note where Giancarlo Manetti Schliemann is, because he was sitting in P1. He's got Jacob Simmons behind, 2 seconds back. Post pit stop, folks. Peter Flanner, 4.8, almost 5 seconds back. Where does this stack up with Elliot Burton, who's still not moving down the start straight finish, and is going to be one of those... Yep, he gets back out there, but it's not going to be good enough. The overcut wasn't really going for an overcut on this driver, but we'll see where he stacks up in terms of the overcut. It's got Peter Flanner ahead of him, Henry Ferguson in P41 just behind right there, and Christopher Daniel is in 5th. So actually, that's a move that worked. Christopher Daniel is down 1 position. Tyler Anderson is now down 1 position. The only way that in the top 7 people gain and lost right there is Elliot's up 2 for an overcut. Both these drivers are down 1, and Jordan Groves, who was the initial driver in the top 10 to make make 2 positions off the starting of this race, now is joined with Elliot Burton, another driver in the top 10. Only 2 drivers who have made moves. Well, actually, we'll count Chris Lambeth and Rodrigo Theory have also made up some spots. That number 14 Porsche flight is about to start. Good luck. See ya, Jeff. Have a safe flight. And look how close they are. The number 14, I'll look for that number 14 in just a second. That is Henry Ferguson, who is finally going to make it easy for these drivers to get by. I mean, it's always difficult. You want to get him pass on the straight. He let him by. That was not difficult. And John Javecki and Rodrigo Theory. John Javecki's up 9 positions. Mark Foley up 4. Just behind. Now, saying a number 14. Okay. Oh. And there's a crash. That was Zeki Kabani, who just lost a couple positions there. That's unfortunate for him. Chris Schitterling might have a move down on Dylan Maroney. That's Noah Hoskinson, who's car number 14, that 14 Porsche. And there's Chris Schitterling making a good move off of Dylan Maroney. Not too defensive on that one. Where is that driver? Ooh. There's car number 14. Noah Hodgkinson down 8 positions and into the pits. Not sure what happened to him. More than likely an incident. Maybe with somebody else. Or all by himself. Now, what is the difference here between Rodrigo Theory and John Javecki? Besides cars, the Porsche ahead of him, the Mustang sitting here. Their lap time's almost identical. Giancarlo Manetti Schliemann going faster overall. He was holding the P2 spot on that. Jacob Simmons in P2 was faster with a one-time lap. Now has taken that back from him. That's the fastest lap point. And on the straight, is it going to be powerful enough? Doesn't really look like it at this moment in time. go by, and Trey Missak now up 25 positions overall. He did get by Nicholas Mazza on this start straight finish here. Not a lot of people rocking the Ferrari, but it seems to do well. He has walked a few drivers on the straight. There's Alex Offen, who looks a little slow on this straight, and he's gonna just let Trey by. I'm not sure what that's about. Maybe a slowdown penalty? But yeah, it looked slow on the straight and was slow on the straight, and Trey Mistak inherits another position, not even having to use the skills it takes to pass here at Imola. And Gus got by. That's P14 for Trey Mistak with 6 laps left to go. Left to go? Left. Tyler Anderson, Christopher Daniel. Will something happen? We've seen Ford in this is a Ford in front, Porsche in the back. We've seen a Porsche up front with a Mustang behind. Not a lot of passing between these two pairings. But anything can happen. Still got a lot of time left to go. As it stands, Elliott Burton is still looking good in that 4th slot. It's going to give him some good haul of points. He's ahead of JD Daniel, who's sitting P2 in the Pro Championship. JD Daniel's in P8. Jacob Simmons just ahead of Elliott Burton in P2. So that'll move Jacob Simmons up because he's over. He's 3rd right now in the Drivers' Championship. Peter Flanner is in 4th. All good hollow results, but we'll see a shakeup in the order for the net points on round 3. And going over here to Logan Brakey. Blake Nave just ahead. Logan Brakey is leading the AM class championship at this moment. Craig Brick is in P2 in that BMW, but you can tell on the vertical timing sheet he is actually P10 at the moment, P11. That's not the case. No, that's not the case. There's no way he's that far ahead. He is in P19. I think the vertical shifts some of those drivers for some reason. Interesting. But he's P19 right now. So P19, P32, that's going to be a long shakeup in the order for points. So go over to Nicholas Mazza, who's half a second off of Brian Berthium. Oh. And Dylan Maroney. It's like Craig Brick makes up one position there. Zeki Kabani also wanting to make a move here. Ooh. Unsettles him. Ooh. Yikes. And they both go flying off. Now, we were looking at it through my perspective. Let's just pull that back real quick. Do a little investigation here. There's no room there, and try to find some room. He is ahead after that incident. John Javecki and Rodrigo Theory have not changed positions. Mark Foley in the background, 2.2 back. Is John Javecki going to try to squeeze in some additional points, getting into the top 10, getting that P10 from Rodrigo Theory? Again, we've seen this combo. Porsche versus Ford. Henry Ferguson getting out of the way there. Lap traffic driver there in P35. Going on board through Aqua Minerale. Where's the difference here? Last lap, John Javecki did a 3/10 faster lap than Rodrigo Theory. But we know if you just place the car right, you're always going to be able to really just keep it ahead. And that seems to be what's happening. It doesn't look like John Javecki is able to reel in the driver on the straights as well as you would think he might be able to. I'm just looking for a good exit here might help with that. Maybe a compromise exit by the Porsche ahead of him of Rodrigo Theory. But it hasn't been the case. It's been the case with any of these pairings. Ford up front, Porsche behind, Porsche in front, Ford behind. But what we have seen is that Ferrari on the straight trounce the Porsche without having to go into the braking zone. And look at this. Trey Mistak, who is in P14. He's held this for a while. He's got Andrew Gorstecki just ahead of him in the Mustang. Now, is this where he makes the move? Down the inside line here at Tosa. Makes the move. Haven't seen that kind of move in this race yet, but he's going to keep it ahead so far. And through Aqua Minerale, he goes. He's keeping it really tight to the vest on those apexes. And he's got Henry Ferguson ahead, just 7/10. That is lap traffic that will bow out of the way here. And he's got a 1.9 second gap, 2-second gap to Mark Foley. And yikes. That is going to cause quite the stir. Andrew Gorstecki looks like he reacted the most out of that incident. Henry Ferguson losing control of his car briefly, and Alex Othen goes through. And, you know, opportunities arise. And that is it. It's a position loss for Andrew Gorstecki. It's unfortunate, but every driver out there still counts as a driver. No matter what, everyone's got a race going on, and even though it's lap traffic, it's still it's part of the race. It's gonna just be bad luck more than anything that he had a little mix-up in the chicane. That's unfortunate. Not even sure what happened there, but that produces an opportunity which Alex Othen took. And now Trey Mistak is 1.1 seconds back. That's a full second, almost in a similar portion of the track that he was 2 seconds back, Mark Foley. The last lap of Mark Foley was a 143.9, as we can see down there on the relative. Trey Mistak's was a little faster. Probably argue that's half a second. I don't want to do the maths, but that is roughly half a second, give or take. And we'll take a look at that in a second. JD Daniel is now caught up to Jordan Groves. And something is afoot. Rodrigo Theory is in P10. It's that different battle there. Never mind. JD Daniel in the Pax Oceani blue team. And the honorary third member of the Pax Oceani purple team of Jordan Groves, who has stayed up late for this race, mind you. The driver is in the UK. And he is frequently the subject to target practice from JD Daniel. I'm not sure what target practice is. Does that mean he hits him in practice a lot? Well, now we can see if he becomes target practice in this race. Although he's down about half a second, 7/10, but he was a little bit quicker. Look back over to Mark Foley, who's now down half a second. Closer now than he has been. And is Mark Foley going to be the subject of another overtake by Trey Mistak here? He's done 27 of them. This is the final lap. And I don't think it's going to happen. And we got Giancarlo, who's got a little bit of ways to go. And Tyler Anderson also has a little bit of ways to go. All these drivers do. So that's the white flag. P1 is sailing off into the distance there. We'll take a look. Ooh. Ooh, he hits him. That's unfortunate for Tyler Anderson. And I'm going to be honest here, folks. There isn't really a battle happening out of those drivers. You can see the gap from the leader. And nothing happening here just yet. We'll go over as we have Giancarlo Minetti Schliemann going to be winning his first race, I believe, in the Broken Wing Racing League GT3 Sprint Championship here in round 3 at Imola, and that is P1 for Giancarlo. Jacob Simmons is going to take P2. Peter Flanner is going to take P3. Elliot Burton going to cross the line to take P4. Christopher Daniel going into the pits. I'm not sure what that's about. He might lose his position. Jordan Groves is crossing the line. He's going to inherit P5, P6. Christopher Daniel goes down to 7. Chris Lambert crosses the line. He's going to inherit 7 over that. Tyler Anderson is going to take P9. Christopher Daniel finishes in P10. Rodrigo Theory is going to take 11 or 10. John Javecki is 11. Mark Foley going to be crossing the line. Who's going to go to? Trey Mistak's all the way there on the outside as they battle it out. That's going to go. Trey Mistak stays ahead of Alex Othinson. Mark Foley keeps P12. Trey Mistak to 13. Alex Othinson 14. Brian Berthium in 16. Craig Brick into 16. Nicholas Mazin in 17. Dylan Maroney in 18. Eric Rodriguez in 19. Dean Diltz is going to take 20. Jesse Canales is going to take 21. And we have Eddie Smith in 22. Andrew Gorstecki in 23. Idis is going to take 24. Tyler Kern in 25. Michael Oceans in 26. Justin Scott in 27. Eric Koonsman in 28. Ethan Orr and 29. Chris Chitterling is going to take P30. Charles Wheat is already finished. He's in 31. Steve McAllister in 32. Logan Brakey in 33. Blake Nave in 34. Eric Samp in 34. Logan Brakey in 35. Blake Nave in 36. Jamin Zen in 37. Henry Ferguson 38. Garen Hahn in 39. Seki Kabani And 40, Alan Pearson 41, Noah Hoskinson 42, Alan Siciliano 43, Tyler Justice 44, Matthew Baldwin 45, and Eric Nesbitt in 46. To note that 43 through 46 did pack up quite early, unfortunately for them. And if you just stick with me, we will we'll see some got Mike O'Shin still out there. Let's look at the results and possibly have a driver who helps that joins me for the cooldown. This is going through those results once more. You can see the drivers on screen. And that's P11 through 20, 21 through 30. And there's 31 through 40. Charles Whedon, Steve Galster, Blake Patterson, Eric Stamp as the final there. Psyche Kabani there. And then the last of them, Alan Paris, Noah Hoskinson, Ernst Theano, and Tyler. So quite the results. And I'll even just do this instead so people can see the race is finished. Here are the results. And I am not sure if anyone's going to join me here. This might be it, folks. If we don't get anybody. And we may not. So it looks like we're not going to get anybody in the cooldown room. But thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. And I'm just going to take this over here and see you next time for the round 4. I believe that's at Le Mans. And we have a schedule out now, and we're going to be we're going to be streaming a lot more, so you'll get some point of view perspective driving. So stay tuned for those races. We'll start to add those to the schedule so you can see when we're going to start going live more often. Appreciate for everyone's time that joined for this, and I'll see you on the next one.